I don't remember sensing it for a dozen millennia. But what's next? How will you end this story? Listen, I know a good ending. Elegant and fine. The hero defeats a deity in battle. Impressive, it grants the victor power and immortality. The hero enters the chambers of the deity to become his champion and herald. Eternal, powerful, equally glorified both in the first world and in Valerian.
Trust the laughing lie. Don't do this. Not after everything you and I have endured because of him. I can give you immortality and power, though not as much as the Lantern Kings. Perhaps we won't be able to stand against the eldest, but...
How sad it is to hear you, Nihilissa. Thousands of years for nothing! You haven't learned a single lesson. Never learned to atone. But what do you say? Well, that is easy. I will return your kingdom to Valerian and strengthen its connection to the First World. In their homeland, the Fae can endlessly return to life. I will give to you the same gift. And so long as you ask for the prize, I'm offering you the position of a servant. Believe it or not, I am lonely. Divine power and immortality are a heavy burden. To accept it means losing all your friends and companions. But what do you think? I can let my misguided protege go wherever she likes.
I won't. I've come too far to go back. It might take me 1,000 years and thousands of deaths, but I will find a way to get back at you, eldest. Even if she betrays our alliance and becomes your puppet. I suggest we do not kneel. We are both cursed, you and I. But so what? The curse can harm you only as much as affliction touches your kingdom. But now, with the eldest wounded and bleeding, his henchmen all slain, I can return your state to the material plane.
And what role in all this shall I play, trespasser?
The role of the vanquished. I know you will hardly accept a defeat, eldest. You may try to attack us again, but we defeated you once, and we will do it again if we must. I'm ready to fight you forever if I have to. So be it.
This performance has run its course. It would be unwise to continue. Besides, you were cursed by my will. By my will, you are now free from the curse. May the shackles be broken, fetters be loosened. What's been stolen will be returned. What's been divided will be made whole again. I say farewell, and release your kingdom to the material plane. Go.
Now that the eldest and other spiteful beings wouldn't be bothering us, the Queen returned to her subjects and celebrated the victory and the end of the kingdom's miseries with great fanfare. Everything gradually returned to normal, including our exciting lives. Not always peaceful, but also not troubled by invasions from another world. And little by little, our heroes and the common folk began to forget the sorrows of the past. Sometimes, on clear spring, under the wise leadership of the Queen, the stolen lands became a true country. There was still much to be done, of course, and some of it will need to be finished by our heroine's descendants. But there are no longer cut purses on every corner, and the peasants aren't Just half a year after the war with the First World, Gault moved its troops to the southern border of the kingdom. Their attack was rebuffed. The enemy state's infantry could do little against soldiers who were skilled with their swords and knew the military arts better than the alphabet. Since then, the Queen's subjects praise her generosity, while citizens of neighboring lands groan from crippling taxes. Citizens of the stolen lands have it pretty good. Truth be told, the treasury isn't always capable of paying the royal bill. The feud between Brevois North and South, which had been smoldering for ages, never sparked the fires of civil war. Through great effort, our Queen managed to bring both parties to the negotiating table. While Rostland didn't gain its independence, it did receive wide autonomy rights. Our relationships with both House Sertova and the Sword Lords are respectful, but they've become lukewarm. Because of us, led by careful, level-headed Dugath, the Tiger Lord's tribe reunited and started to lick the wounds left by the erratic Armagh. Little by little, they once again became one of the strongest mercenary armies in the region. Pitax never regained its former stature. In their fight for power, both bandits and the relatively honest merchants lost all their strength, scaring away both customers and suppliers. Trade routes began moving. There was no place for art in the new Pitax. Students and teachers from the academy were scattered to the wind. Some found a place in neighboring courts, while others set off to earn some coin in roadside taverns. A third group, harboring anger and resentment toward the Queen, began weaving revolutionary plots. The ruins of the Academy of the Arts still... Trolls and kobolds, two of the most savage native peoples living in the Gnarl Marches, were completely exterminated. After enduring so many storms and troubles, Varnhold eventually turned into a real city. Daring settlers decided to conquer the vast, wild expanses of Dunsword, and despite all odds, they succeeded. Agay, the Spriggan leader, learned a valuable lesson after surviving his meeting with the Queen and even regaining his tribe's home. Don't try to occupy seemingly empty settlements anymore. Instead, the Spriggans settled across Dunsword's wild borderlands and proclaimed it as their domain. Keeping the peace in a situation like that seems like the stuff of dreams, as peace reigns in the caves beneath the old sycamore. The kobolds and mites continue to explore the depths and learn simple crafts from each other. Rumor has it, the first mite-kobold wedding even happened not. Oleg's trading post continues to thrive, attracting even more travelers. Much to its owner's displeasure, a small town is springing up around it. Jod remained loyal to the Queen to the end of his days, healing the sick and generously sharing his austere wisdom with anyone who wished to hear. Having participated in Lamashtu's ritual, Olika gave birth to a strong and healthy baby. Sadly, the child grew into an unruly and violent adolescent. Having maimed a peer at just 10 years of age, the boy escaped to the Gnarl Marches, fleeing the rage of a mob that tore his mother to pieces instead. No one knows what happened. Breinhardt became a loyal ally and trade partner of the kingdom, and Darwin himself had been seen as a frequent guest in the capital. The elegant monarch of the neighboring kingdom has broken many hearts at court. After the lizard folk of the Longtail tribe returned to live on the shores of Candlemere, but they couldn't return to their ancient way of life. Living alongside people, the lizard folk adopted their behaviors, habits, and even religion. More and more of the Longtail tribe pray not to the spirits of their ancestors, but to the Sweet Teeth departed on a journey, hoping to see as many wonders as possible of this world and others. They keep sending us news from every corner of the map. Their bright painted... Evindra was glad to see the Lantern King's plans turn to dust. She spent some time helping restore the kingdom after the calamity, then returned home to the First World. They say the rebellious spirit of her cousin Nyrissa awoke within her as well. After the victory, the storyteller abandoned his affairs and began spending a lot of time alone in contemplation. He eventually bid farewell to the queen and left her lands, but I suspect the inhabitant... Amiri remained a pariah to her native tribe, but she stayed close friends with Nylak, who ruled the Six Bears wisely and taught them to survive in the unfamiliar plains and cities. The rest... Valerie stayed to serve the queen, and to this day, she continues to be a muse to many people, not just bards and admirers. Harren became famous, respected by dwarves throughout our kingdom as well as our neighbors, even as far as the Five Kings Mountains. He's often been asked to help out or teach others, and he's never denied anyone.